I love to work out and lift weights and exercise. I always have. And it was really interesting because a few years back, I let my gut get way too big. And my wife asked me something just in a beautiful way. She phrased the question. She said, "How much time do you spend on your abs?" And my answer was none. And so then she looked at me and I knew what she meant, but we just smiled because what she was implying is this: if I'm not spending time on my abs, then how can I be upset that I have a gut? And it was a wonderful lesson. And the same is true for all of us. I have several people recently who've written in and said, "Hey, Doc, can you help me get a handle of my emotions? My emotions seem to get the best of me." And so my question is, how much time do you practice being able to handle difficult situations? If you really want to get a handle on your emotions, then every time you encounter something that tests your patience, every time you encounter someone who thinks, feels, believes, or acts differently from how you want that person to, then that's an opportunity to practice getting control over your emotions. If, on the other hand, you are expecting magically for people just to think, feel, believe, and behave however you want them to, well, then you're going to be let down when you encounter people being otherwise. If you follow my work at all, you know I call that world of shoulds. People should think, feel, believe, and behave the way I think they should. I call that the cartoon world. And that is in direct opposition to the real world, how people actually think, feel, believe, and behave. And I've spent the better part of a quarter of a century in my career teaching people how to align their expectations with reality. The more you prepare for reality, the better you're going to do when you inevitably encounter it. But if you continually prepare yourself to encounter what I call the cartoon world, and be mindful that we all have a cartoon world. I have a cartoon world. I came up with this concept. I didn't come up with the concept of shoulds. There was a wonderful neo-Freudian psychoanalyst named Karen Horney who wrote about the tyranny of the should, about how shoulds are like tyrants. You should do that, and you shouldn't have said that, and you shouldn't have done that. But the concept itself of shoulds, I mean, there was another psychologist named Albert Ellis that said not to should all over yourself. So what I've done with this concept early in my career, I termed that world of shoulds the cartoon world. And I put that next to what I call the real world. And so, again, I've spent my career teaching people how to align their expectations with reality. Now, this concept might seem simple, and it might be, if you follow my channel or read my books, a concept you've encountered several times before. But there's a very important reason why I bring it up. Because again, to those who recently have written in and asked me about how to get control over their emotions, I want you to understand your cartoon world and not just here. Because what happens is our egos like to tell us we know. I know what the cartoon world is. I know I'm not supposed to think in my shoulds. I know. But that's ego. And you also know that there's a big difference between what you know and what you know. The difference, in other words, is what you say you know and what you actually live out. And so it's not enough just to understand cognitively this concept of the cartoon world. It's something that you want to practice daily. Being aware. Anytime you say, he shouldn't have said that, she shouldn't have done that. And then look at it from the real world. This person did say this. This person did do that. And then you can work to meet the world where it is, not where you think it should be already. And if you want to learn more how to do that, that's what a lot of my writings are centered on. In other words, I developed a concept called yield theory. It's now an evidence-based approach to communication. I wrote all about it in my book, Walking Through Anger. And the concept is about meeting people where they are, getting around that fight or flight response and speaking in ways that can be heard, regardless of the emotions people are experiencing. It's about how to handle others' intense emotions and how to handle your own as well. If you are struggling with handling your emotions, don't be put off if you hear the word anger, because walking through anger is really about walking through conflict. And your conflict might be depression. Your conflict might be anxiety. Your conflict, whatever it is, will best be dealt with head on. But there's a way to deal with it head on, and that's what yield theory is all about. I hope this helps. Please understand to be easy on yourself if you're not doing it as quickly as you're getting it here. One of the challenges with intelligent people is they get concepts so quickly here, they say, okay, I know that. But again, there's a big difference between knowing something and actually living it out. The more you practice it, the better you get. If, on the other hand, you practice saying over and over again, I know, yes, but, well, then you get really good at that. So be mindful that you will master whatever you practice. Until next time, I wish you much peace.